Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Bhakti Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Bando mui savadana mate. Bando mui savadana mate. Yara prasade vai eva vatoya yara prasade vai eva vatoya yara prasade vai eva vatoya Krishna prapti hoya hoite. Krishna prapti hoya hoite. Padma Vakya Chite Te Koriya Kya Guru Mukha Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite Te Koriya Kya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite Arana Koriyo Mane Asha Arana Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati. Shri Guru Ese Utama Gati. Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati. Utamagati Shri Prasadi Pure Sarva Asha Shri Prasadi Pure Sarva Asha Chakudan diyorye janme janme Prabhu se Chakudan diyorye janme janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Prema Bhaktiya Hoite Avidya Vinashayate Prema Bhaktiya Hoite Avidya Vinashayate Vedegaya Racharita Vedegaya Racharita Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Mahaprabhu Korodoya Padachaya Mahaprabhu Korodoya Deomore Padachaya Ebe Ashkushu Pribhuvana Ebe Ashkushu Pribhuvana Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Prabhu Korodoya Deomore Padachaya Ebe Ashkushu Pribhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Amine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyachari Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Hari Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Nitai Gauranga Gaurari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Go Ranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Gaura Chandra. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare, Gaura, 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Shama Sundarari. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Gonitai, Jaya Gonitai. Gonitai Gaura Haribo, Gaura Haribo. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotar Shati Srimad Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotar Shati Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Navraman Reti Dham Ki Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Ganga Devi Jamuna Maya Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. So this is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote in 1970. He said, yes, we are fighting impersonalism and voidism with pure devotional service. Impersonalism and voidism kills the natural aptitude of devotion, which is lying dormant in everyone's heart. Therefore, we are printing books like our Krishna book so that people may know it that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. The perfection of every living creature is to render transcendental loving service to that Supreme Person and thereby go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita that whoever explains my transcendental glories to others is most dear to me in this world, and never will there be one more dear to me than he. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So there's many opportunities to spread the transcendental glories today, Saturday. We have a parade downtown Alachua. We meet behind the Alachua Villas at 1. The parade actually takes off at 2. So 1 in devotee time, 1:30 would work also. And just please come out, bring your children. There's a place for the children to sit on the flatbed trailer. And then the Roth cart is coming. Lord Jagannath is coming. We're going to pull it by hand because we expect to have enough devotees to do that. We have lots of cookies to pass out to the people and on chanting books. And it's a very nice parade. By 2 o'clock today, it'll be 65 degrees and sunny, so don't worry about the weather. And then this evening, we meet in downtown High Springs, 530 2nd Avenue, I think it is, at the Alice's Restaurant. Everyone can remember Alice's Restaurant. I can't get it out of my mind ever since I said it yesterday. And we have the High Springs Parade, which is also extremely ecstatic. There's more people out there at High Springs than even in downtown Alachua. So the Kirtan party will go through the parade on a flatbed trailer and pulled by a pickup truck that has Hare Krishna mantra in lights on the truck. It's very cool. And then at 3 o'clock, right after the parade, the devotees will hustle back to the temple who are going door-to-door. Book distribution and Kalyapani will take you out today. So meeting here back at the temple about 3 o'clock to go door-to-door on book distribution. If you haven't already participated in the Prabhupada Marathon, the book distribution marathon, by picking up some books or making donations for books, you can do that Sunday at the book tent outside. And also Rupa Devi Dasi, who does the face painting for all the children at all of our festivals, is asking for prayers for her mother Ada, who's passing away, leaving her body now. These are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master in dressing the deities today. Shishi Radha Sham Sundar Mantrini Prabhu, Chota Radha Sham Sundar Leela Prabhu, Shishi Krishna Balaram Raghunath Prabhu, Chota Krishna Balaram Ananda Vardhani Prabhu, Shishi Gornitai Sharala Prabhu, Chota Gornitai Govinda Sangini Prabhu, Gurus and Lord Nrsingadev, Avaduta Nitai Prabhu. And Dhruva Maharaj Prabhu is giving class today.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajakacarya Asatutta Sarashi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajakacarya Asatutta Sarashi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namachaya Sala Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikon Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Nur Raman Reti Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakti Binda Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sisi Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Today we're reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 8, Talks Between the Lord and Ramananda Rai, continued. Texts 286 through 288. So I'll do 286 and 87, we'll do 88 together. Mora tattva lila rasa tomara gochare ataiva rupa dekhailun tomare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed, all the truths about my pastimes and mellows are within your knowledge. Therefore, I have shown this form to you. Gaura ange nahi maura radhanga sparshana gopendra sutta vinaten ho nasparshe anya jana. Actually, my body does not have a white complexion. It only appears so because it has touched the body of Srimati Radharani. However, she does not touch anyone but the son of Maharaj Nanda Maharaj. So then we'll do this one the way we usually do. Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Ladies? Tanre bhave bhavita kare atmamana. Tabe nija madhurya kare asvadana. Tanra of Srimati Radharani. Bhave in the ecstasy. Bhavita enlightened. Kari making. Atmamana body and mind. Tabe thereupon. Nijamadurya my own transcendental humor. Kari I do. Asvadana tasting. Translation. I have now converted my body and mind into the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani. Thus I am tasting my own personal sweetness in that form. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Gaura Sundar here informed Sri Ramananda Rai. My dear Ramananda Rai, you were actually seeing a separate person with a white-complexioned body. Actually, I am not white. Being Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, I am blackish. But when I come in touch with Srimati Radharani, I become white-complexioned eternally. Srimati Radharani does not touch the body of anyone but Krishna. I taste my own transcendental features by accepting the complexion of Srimati Radharani. Without Radharani, one cannot taste the transcendental pleasure of Krishna's conjugal love. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments on the Prakriti Sahajiya Sampradaya, which considers Krishna and Lord Chaitanya to possess different bodies. They misinterpret the words Gaura Ange Nahi Moda mentioned herein. From this verse, we can understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna. Both are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the form of Krishna, the Lord enjoys spiritual bliss and remains the shelter of all devotees, Vishaya Vigraha. Krishna, in his Gauranga feature, tastes separation from Krishna in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani. This ecstatic form is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sri Krishna is always the transcendental reservoir of all pleasure, and he is technically called Dhira Lalita. Radharani is the embodiment of spiritual energy, personified as ecstatic love for Krishna. Therefore, only Krishna can touch Srimati Radharani. The Dhira Lalita aspect is not seen in any other form of the Lord, neither in Vishnu nor in Narayan. Srimati Radharani is therefore known as Govinda Nandini and Govinda Mohini, for she is the only source of transcendental pleasure for Sri Krishna. Indeed, she is the only person who can enchant his mind. Om Agyanit Simirandasya Gyanandjana Sarakaya Chakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed, all the truths about my pastimes and mellows are within your knowledge. Therefore, I have shown this form to you. Actually, my body does not have a white complexion. It only appears so because it has touched the body of Srimati Radharani. However, she does not touch anyone but the son of Nanda Maharaj. I have now converted my body and mind into the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, and thus I am tasting my own personal sweetness in that form. So I was going to talk about two different topics today. The first is the science of how Krishna can feel separation from Krishna. How can anyone feel separation from themselves? But Krishna can do that, so we'll discuss and read about how that happens. And second of all, some of the features of Srimati Radharani and this particular characteristic of Krishna called Dhira Lalita. What does that mean? And in relationship to Srimati Radharani and how that manifests. So first of all, I found a purport which explains a particular concept that caught my attention. You listen to this purport, and it shows how the principle which is being discussed is inherent throughout all the different pastimes of Krishna. One should take this verse as a Paribhasa Sutra of Krishna Leela. As a lamp sits in one place in a dark room and lights up the whole room, so that statement in scriptures which can reveal the meaning of all scriptures or regulate the meaning of the scriptures is called a Paribhasa Sutra. This verse stands as a regulator for all the pastimes related to Aisvarya, that's displays of power and opulence, shown during Krishna's Kumara and Kaishora ages in Mathura, Kurukshetra, and elsewhere. So that's quite a mystery. It's quite a statement saying that this particular principle can be applied to all of Krishna's pastimes. And it has to do with how Krishna can manifest a form, we're discussing today, how he can feel separation from himself. So rather than reading that verse right now, go a little bit further down the Leela. And in the pastime with Mother Yasoda binding Krishna, upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful, and his breathing quick. And as Mother Yasoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound with his devotee's love, I offer my humble obeisances. How can you shiver in fright and rub your eyes again and cry and the mascara is coming down if you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you know it? He has to be covered. There has to be something that's changing his revelation, his knowledge. He's not paying attention to that part of himself. It's further explained. By his very nature, Krishna is self-satisfied, Atmarama. Yet, he suffers from hunger. He is Aptikama. He automatically fulfills all his desires. And yet he's dissatisfied and desirous of prema. Although he's completely satisfied, Krishna still hankers for love. Though Krishna is the personification of peace and pure goodness, he becomes angry. Krishna is the master of the goddess of fortune, yet he steals butter like a beggar. Though Krishna instills fear in all through time and death, he flees in fear of Mother Yasoda's stick. Though Krishna travels at the speed of mind, he is easily caught by the firm grip of his mother. Though Krishna is condensed bliss, Sundarananda, he cries in sorrow. Though Krishna is unlimited and all-pervading, he is limited by being tied up. In all these incidences, Krishna was directly revealing to Yasoda his innate quality of being controlled by his devotee. All of this cannot be explained simply as an act or imitation performed by Krishna. Such explanations arise from ignorance and have no proof or support. Realizing this quality of the Lord, Brahma, Shiva, and Sanat Kumar become truly astonished. So he's revealing that Krishna isn't, it's like an actor who's playing a part. They still know who they are. They're playing a part. At any moment, if there was an emergency or some kind of like tragedy, immediately they'd come out of that character and be themselves because they're just acting. Not so with Krishna. He's not just acting a part. He's actually, when Krishna manifests a lila, manifests a mood, a form takes place that it's not like Lord Nrsimhadev thinking about the gopis. He's totally absorbed in Prahlad and his manifestation of Lord Nrsimhadev, Lord Varaha. All the different forms of Krishna are one and the same, but they all have distinct individual personalities, and they get completely absorbed and manifest that quality. Now we'll go back to that explanation of that particular verse. The verse, which is the Paribhasa Sutra, was when Mother Yasoda saw the universal form in Krishna's mouth. And it was like, for a moment, she realized what was going on. She realized she was seeing the universe in her son. But her Madhurya Bhava, her Vatsalya Bhava, her motherly affection, was so prominent that it overwhelmed her awe and reverence vision of her son. It's described here. Immediately forgetting Yogamaya's illusion that Krishna had shown the universal form within his mouth, Mother Yasoda took her son on her lap as before, feeling increased affection in her heart for her transcendental son. Purport. Just as one quickly forgets a dream through the influence of Maya, Yasoda forgot completely about the universal form. In the presence of Aisvarya Gyan, intimacy and affection is restricted. Now, being unrestricted, Yasoda's affection increased even more. Sukadev describes Yasoda as pravriddha sneha kalila hridaya, one whose heart was completely covered with increased affection. So Krishna reciprocates with his devotee, yayatamam prapadyante, not just like in a general sense, in a very specific sense. When Arjuna was on the battlefield and wanted to see the opulence of Krishna, then Krishna showed that. But when Arjuna saw it, Arjuna became disturbed and again wanted to have that intimate relationship with Krishna, reciprocating with that desire. Krishna manifested four-armed form, then two-armed form, and then all of a sudden, just like here with Mother Yasoda, showing the universal form, and then all of a sudden he's Krishna lying on her lap. He was showing the universal form, and then he was sitting on the chariot talking with Arjuna. So Krishna manifests yayatamam prapadyante according to that desire. And he becomes completely covered by that character. The verse that's the Paribhasa Sutra is, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Yasoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Considering Lord Chaitanya, we have a contradictory anomaly. He's Krishna. He's meeting with Srimati Radharani. They're merged, so that's meeting. They're meeting because they're together. And simultaneously, he's feeling separation. It's a prominent mood, in the mood of Srimati Radharani feeling separation from Krishna. So how can one have meeting and separation in the same container and function? They're contradictory. So it's a great science. And Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya are discussing that particular feature. So the first part I wanted to talk about was how Krishna can be covered. Leela Shakti and Yoga Maya energies fulfill the desire of the Lord, so that when he desires to reciprocate in a certain way, they cover his qualities and nature so that he can fully absorb himself in those natures. So the question arises when we talk about Srimati Radharani and Krishna, what are the characteristics of those people, those features of the Lord? If the Lord is unlimited, and he has unlimited forms. Madan, can you put on that first text that I had for my notes, the ones with all the chapter headings? This is from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The first part is chapter headings. Lord Chaitanya is speaking with Sanatana Goswami, going into great detail of the different forms of the Lord. His forms are one and the same. In other words, they're all Krishna. Unlimited forms of Godhead. It's compared to the ocean with waves flowing. All the different incarnations of God. They're unlimited. I'm sure most of you have read this particular part where Lord Chaitanya describes 6 different types of expansions of Krishna, and then goes into all the different, not all, the 24 different Vishnu forms, and the way they hold the different symbols of the chakra, lotus flower, club, and disc. Thank you. The avatars. Then he starts to narrow in and go into the opulences of Krishna and the beauty of Krishna. So what he's doing is he's describing this unlimited personality and all the different forms and descriptions. And we most often hear about Krishna to Balaram, Balaram to the Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan to the second Chaturvyuha, then Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And we can relate with that. We're in this universe, you can kind of step back. But in Goloka Vrindavan, that example in the Brahma Samhita is that there's one candle, and that lights another candle, lights another candle, lights another candle. They're all as powerful as one another, but still, the original candle has its identity as the original, although all the others are the same. They're the same candle power, they're the same light, but still that individual is unique. So we were recently in Hawaii, and on Bhishma Panchaka, those last 5 days of Kartik, we started reading Chaitanya Charitamrita together and then just continued after the month was over because it was so nice. And the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj is describing and defining who is the absolute truth, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. And he does a very similar thing. He follows this same flow that Lord Chaitanya taught Sanatana Goswami. So one of the devotees, when we were reading about how the supreme Swayam Bhagavan, the original candle, is a cowherd boy, son of Maharaj Nanda, two-handed, plays a flute, and enjoys in the forests of Vrindavan. And he said, well, you know, after understanding all these different incarnations of God, it's nice to know, but it's not that important. So I started thinking, why go through that whole explanation and start condensing the topic down into its essence if it's not so important? So it was Krishna's way of kind of helping me follow that thread and mind that vein down to why it's important. And this is some of the topics that are discussed by Srila Prabhupada. Does a wonderful job, just like he did with Krishna book. He takes the topics of the 10th canto and condenses them into story form and has like philosophy and everything there. Very easy to read. So similarly, he takes all the different teachings of Lord Chaitanya and condenses them into the teachings of Lord Chaitanya into that book. It's like a 17-volume book in the first printing, and it's a 1-volume book in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So these are some of the topics about that Dhira Lalita. Dhira Lalita means one who's youthful, cunning, carefree, anxiety-free. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not overwhelmed by material manifestation. It's done, Prabhupada gave the example, it's like telling a secretary, an owner of a company, tells a secretary to do something, and then a manager, he doesn't even have to think about it. He told his manager, that person will take care of it. So he describes how Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu take care of it. He doesn't have to, he enjoys. He's an enjoyer. Krishna's conjugal love is the summit of his various opulences. So we hear Srila Prabhupada so many times, the description of Bhagavan. What does Bhagavan mean? The owner of 6 opulences. So the summit, the topmost of all his opulences is what? Conjugal love. It's the summit. It's the essence. It's the most. The summit's the top. It's the topmost of all his opulences. Is how this person can engage in intimate conjugal relationship. That's his most summit of his opulences. He's the master of all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. And out of these, his perfect beauty is his conjugal attraction. Such perfect conjugal beauty eternally exists only in the form of Krishna, whereas his other opulences are present in his Narayan form. So my verse today was 288 with the purport, and the end Srila Prabhupada explains. The Dhira Lalita aspect is not seen in any other form of the Lord, neither in Vishnu nor in Narayan. Srimati Radharani is therefore known as Govinda Nandini and Govinda Mohini, for she is the only source of transcendental pleasure for Sri Krishna, and she is the only person who can enchant his mind. We also read that Lord Chaitanya explained to Ramananda Roy, Srimati Radharani doesn't touch anybody but the son of Maharaj Nanda. So we're boiling the sugarcane juice down to its essential sweetness when we discuss who are these two people, Radharani and Krishna, compared to Vishnu and Lakshmi. Although they're one and non-different, as we just read with all the different forms of God and the candle example, there is that unique feature. No other forms of God. As soon as he goes with the Akrura to the Jamuna on the chariot and takes bath. You remember when they're leaving Vrindavan. Akrura drives to Akrura Ghat and everybody takes bath. First Akrura took bath and then Balaram and Krishna took bath. And when Akrura was sitting on the chariot, he was looking down in the river and all of a sudden he saw Vishnu with Anantasesha. Balaram took the form of Anantasesha and Krishna took the form of Vishnu. So when they came out of the river, it's described that Krishna didn't come out of the river. Vasudeva Krishna came out of the river, the son of Maharaj Vasudeva. When Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, is it the two-handed cowherd boy, son of Maharaj Nanda, that appeared in Mathura? No, because we hear other verses where it says that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. When Rupa Goswami was writing his play, he had a dream from Satyabhama who came and said, write a separate play about me. He went to Puri. Lord Chaitanya said the same thing. He said, in your play, don't take Krishna out of Vrindavan. Because he never leaves. It's an expansion of Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna. That's a whole other science. What we're trying to do is discuss that personality of Krishna, Dhira Lalita, who displays those characteristics, and Srimati Radharani, and how they reciprocate with one another. There's a little more about the gopis from that. I think it's up a little bit. Yeah. The gopis' minds are always engaged in relishing the sweetness of Krishna's body. This is also supposed to be our meditation. If we become attracted to the things of this material world, oh, how paltry compared to the summit of Swayam Bhagavan's sweet opulences and sweet form. When we meditate, when we chant japa, when we meditate upon Krishna, we're allowed to open our heart and try to experience the beauty of Krishna. He is the ocean of beauty, and the luster of his body and beauty of his face and smile are all attractive to the minds of the gopis. In the Krishna Karnamrita, Krishna's body, face, and smile have been described as sweet, sweeter, and sweetest. So his body is sweet. His face is sweeter, but his smile is the sweetest. When there are three kinds of contamination in the bodily constitution, convulsions take place. Similarly, a perfect devotee of Krishna experiences convulsions when he is overwhelmed by seeing the beauty of Krishna's body, face, and smile. So, when Krishna takes the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this mood of Srimati Radharani, and imbibes it, then that form, that personality becomes so absorbed in those emotions and that attraction to Krishna that we've all read Anjalila and how Lord Chaitanya, he's tears pouring out of his eyes when he's chanting for Krishna in the Rath Yatra, when he's becoming like a pumpkin. So, all the bodies, all his limbs, or when he elongates or jumps into the ocean thinking it's the Jamuna River and is caught by the fishermen, and his whole body was like, he was just... And then the devotees chanted, and he came back to consciousness and said, I was in Vrindavan watching the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. He's showing how absorbed he is he's Krishna, but he's completely lost all consciousness of it because he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And this is what he revealed to Ramananda Roy, and only Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar were qualified to reciprocate with this personality in that way. But we're so fortunate that we get to hear about it, absorb ourselves, meditate on it, and feel this pleasure. Similarly, before Krishna's beauty, the devotee sometimes stays immersed in the ocean of transcendental convulsions without receiving treatment, just as a patient suffering ordinary convulsions may be prevented by a physician from receiving drink of water for relief. The devotee increasingly feels the absence of Krishna, for without him one cannot drink the nectar of his beauty. So what happens is that when one becomes so absorbed in the beauty of Krishna, what is that verse by the gopis about blinking? They were so absorbed in Krishna's beauty that they were disturbed by blinking. That's absorbed. I mean, a blink is, who can even count how short that is? When the transcendental sound of Krishna's flute vibrates, the devotee's anxiety to hear that flute penetrates the covering of the material world and enters the spiritual sky, where the transcendental sound of the flute enters into the ears of the gopis and their followers. My desire is that I attain this. Please make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braja. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. The sound of Krishna's flute always resides within the ears of the gopis and increases their ecstasy. When they hear it, no other sound can enter their ears, and they are unable to reply properly to their family members' questions, for all these beautiful sounds are vibrating in their ears. Thus, Lord Chaitanya explained the transcendental constitution of Krishna, his expansions, his bodily luster, and everything connected with him. In short, Lord Chaitanya explained Krishna, the essence of everything, as he is. Then, he goes on to Srimati Radharani. So we've heard about Krishna, how he becomes absorbed, how he becomes covered, how he experiences, how that personality becomes so absorbed in feeling separation from Krishna. Now let's look at the personality of Srimati Radharani and what he wants to see and what does he want to experience? Who is that? What is that feature that so attracted that personality that he wanted to enter there? After hearing Ramananda Rai speak about the qualities of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, Lord Chaitanya desired to hear from him about reciprocal exchange of love between them. Ramananda Rai described Krishna as Dhira Lalita, a word indicating a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety, and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Krishna is always engaged in loving affairs with Radharani, and he takes to the bushes of Vrindavan to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Now it's going to describe Srimati Radharani's features, which are so attractive to that male Purusha. Srimati Radharani is decorated with Sudipta Sattvika emotions, which sometimes include jubilation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. So transcendental ecstasy personifies in a body, and according to time, place, circumstance, and Leela being performed, she manifests, a form. Not that it's a different form, but just like if a person's frightened, we'll call that person's feature frightened form. Or if they're astonished, it's an astonished form, like that. So it takes some realization of the quality of a emotion. And if we can capture that and understand those emotions in their pureness, then we can understand how that manifests in Srimati Radharani's body through these descriptions. Sudipta Sattvika emotions are manifest when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called Kilikinchita, which manifests in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. So it's very easy to see the way a person stands or the way a person moves. You can tell what their mood is. It's called body language. As far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. And as far as habitual emotions are concerned, they are manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparing for separation, and forgetfulness. So, during Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath goes from the Jagannath Puri temple to Gundicha. Gundicha is compared to Vrindavan. So he takes a summer vacation. He goes for a little trip to Vrindavan. And that happens on the second day of the month, in the month of Ashada. On the fifth day, it's called Hare Panchami, Lakshmi in the Jagannath temple becomes disturbed that her husband said, I'm going for a stroll, I'm going out for a little while, I need a break, I was not feeling well, I was sick there during Anavasara for a little while, so I'm going out, I'm going to go out and take a stroll and I'll be back. But 5 days later, he's still not back, so she comes and chastises him and wants him to come back. So when Lord Chaitanya was viewing this, participating in this pastime called Hare Panchami, Swarup Damodar and Narada Muni got into this beautiful exchange about the difference between Krishna's opulences and his Dwarka Leela and his so-called simple Vrindavan Leelas. And in that description, Swarup Damodar Goswami took this concept, this description of the 20 different features of Srimati Radharani, the Vyabhachari Bhavas, under the heading of Kila Kinchita, and further describes them. So we'll read a little bit about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan and how that affects both of them. Srimati Radharani's love is a highly advanced ecstasy. All her dealings are completely pure and devoid of material tinge. Indeed, her dealings are 10 times purer than gold. As soon as Radharani gets a chance to see Krishna, her body suddenly decorates with various ecstatic ornaments. The transcendental ornaments of Srimati Radharani's body include 8 sattvikas. That's like the ones where Lord Chaitanya is praying. It's tears flowing from the eyes. Oh, okay, great. It's Madhya 14. I'm on 167. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Very good. So 8 sattvikas, or transcendental symptoms, the 33 vyabhachari bhavas, beginning with harsha, or jubilation and natural love, and 20 bhavas, or ecstatic emotional ornaments. Now let's just take harsha, because he quotes it, and says jubilation and natural love. What caused the jubilation? What was the verse before? 166. As soon as Radharani gets a chance to see Krishna, then there's jubilation in her heart. That jubilation can be seen on her face. You can see when somebody's happy to see you and when they're not happy to see you. It's natural. So that natural jubilation, and when he sees that, naturally that inspires him. It's natural. It's love. 168. Some of the symptoms, critically explained in the following verses, are kilikinchita, kutamita, vilas, lalita, vivoka, motaita, mogda, and chakita. When Srimati Radharani's body manifests the ornaments of many ecstatic symptoms, the ocean of Krishna's happiness immediately displays transcendental waves. Now, here a description of the different ecstasies, beginning with kilikinchita. With these ecstatic ornaments, Srimati Radharani enchants the mind of Krishna. When Krishna sees Srimati Radharani and wants to touch her body, he prohibits her from going to the spot where one can cross the river Yamuna. Approaching her, Krishna prohibits Srimati Radharani from picking flowers, or he may also touch her in front of her friends. At such times, the ecstatic symptoms of kilikinchita are awakened. First, there is jubilation and ecstatic love, which is the root of all these symptoms. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Whenever Srimati Radharani leaves her house, she's always very well dressed and attractive. It is her womanly nature to attract Sri Krishna's attention, and upon seeing her so attractively dressed, Krishna desires to touch her body. The Lord then finds some fault in her and prohibits her from going to the river crossing and stops her from picking flowers. Such are the pastimes between Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna. There are 2 books, specifically one by Rupa Goswami and one by Raghunath Das Goswami. One's called Dan Keli Kumudi, and the other one's called Dan Keli Chintamani, practically the same Leela, where, and we've all heard the pastimes of the boatman. Radharani's carrying her goods, and she wants to go sell it on the other side of the river, and various pastimes take place. And what happens is that when Krishna stops Srimati Radharani and plays the taxman, they also have that place in Varsana where they used to go, and the mountain comes down, and there's like a little path where you have to go through, and he would stop them. And when he stops her, immediately we'll read about what happens. Being a cowherd girl, Srimati Radharani regularly carries milk in a container and often goes to sell the milk on the other side of the Jamuna. To cross the river, she has to pay a boatman, and the spot where the boatman collects his fares is called Dangati. Lord Sri Krishna stops her from going, telling her, first of all, you have to pay the fee, then you will be allowed to go. This pastime is called Dan Keli Lila. So what is the fee? Taxman in America, tax usually have to give some coins or some money. So, but what is the payment in Dan Keli Kamudi, Dan Keli Chintamani? You have to show me what are you carrying under your blouse. You have to give me a kiss. You have to let me touch you. These are the different, and it turns into a whole. She obviously doesn't immediately acquiesce. She restricts him, and gradually the whole book is about how he describes her beautiful features, her beautiful lips, her beautiful teeth, the smile, her forehead, her ornaments. He glorifies those and says, I want payment in the form of these ornaments of yours. Similarly, if Srimati Radharani wants to pick a flower, Sri Krishna claims to be the gardener's proprietor and prohibits her. Does anybody know the most famous place where that takes place? We've all taken bath there. Kusum Sarovara. Radharani wants to go pick flowers in Krishna. No. This is my garden. Who are you? This pastime is called Kili Kinchita. Radharani's shyness arises due to Sri Krishna's prohibitions, and ecstatic, loving bodily symptoms called Kila Kinchita Bhava are manifest at this time. These ecstatic symptoms are explained in the following verse, which is from Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nilamani. Ujjvala Nilamani is a book that's a sequel, part 2, to the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. How aware, how conscious, how well Rupa Goswami, who is a Manjari in Krishna Lila, knows the character, the emotions, the heart of Krishna, to be able to capture these words and express this mixture of emotions. Pride, ambition, weeping, smiling, envy, fear, and anger are the 7 ecstatic loving symptoms manifested by a jubilant shrinking away, and these symptoms are called Kila Kinchita Bhava. There are 7 other transcendental ecstatic symptoms, and when they combine on the platform of jubilation, the combination is called Mahabhava. The 7 combined ingredients of Mahabhava are pride, ambition, fear, dry artificial crying, anger, envy, and mild smiling. In other words, all these emotions manifest simultaneously in the body of Srimati Radharani. There are 8 symptoms of ecstatic love on the platform of transcendental jubilation, and when they are combined and tasted by Krishna, the Lord's mind is completely satisfied. He's seeing these on her body. He's watching her manifest. All these you can see on a person's face. All of them are there. Her mood in seeing Krishna when he stops her. All of a sudden, boom, it's like a bouquet. All the flowers are there, and if you study any one of them, you can kind of get into that particular one, but even the whole thing looks beautiful. Indeed, they are compared to a combination of yogurt, candy, ghee, honey, black pepper, camphor, and cardamom, which, when mixed together, are very tasty and sweet. Lord Sri Krishna is thousands upon thousands of times more satisfied when he sees Srimati Radharani's face light up from this combination of ecstatic love than when he is in direct union with her. And then there's some beautiful verses from Govinda Lilamrita. Oh, the first one's by Rupa Goswami. May the sight of Srimati Radharani's Kila Kinchita ecstasy, which is like a bouquet, bring good fortune to you all. When Sri Krishna blocked Radharani's way to the Dangati, there was laughter within her heart. Her eyes grew bright, and fresh tears flowed from her eyes, reddening them. Due to her sweet relationship with Krishna, her eyes were enthusiastic. And when her crying subsided, she appeared even more beautiful. Agitated by tears, Srimati Radharani's eyes were tinged red, just like the eastern horizon at sunrise. Her lips began to move with jubilation and lusty desire. Her eyebrows curved, and her lotus-like face smiled mildly. Seeing Radharani's face exhibit such an emotion, Lord Sri Krishna felt 1,000,000 times happier than when he embraced her. Indeed, Lord Sri Krishna's happiness is not at all mundane. Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy, and being absorbed in this happiness, he embraced Swarup Damodar Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Damodar Swarup, please speak of the ecstatic ornaments decorating the body of Srimati Radharani, by which she enchants the mind of Govinda. Being thus requested, Swarup Damodar began to speak. All the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were very happy to hear him. And this is how they spent their days. So absorbed in these loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. This is why Krishna manifested as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was covered by his no consciousness of his Aisvarya Leela, but yet sometimes he showed it, like at Srivasangam, when the Mahabhava Prakas, when he showed his opulence. So it's not that he doesn't know who he is, but during those times when he's absorbed, he's so absorbed that Leela Shakti, Yogamaya, helps him experience that. And this is what he's explaining to Ramananda Roy, that because you're my devotee, just like Arjuna, because you're my friend, because you're surrendered to me, because these truths are known to you, I reveal this form to you. So according to our bhakti, according to our love and devotion and surrender to our spiritual master, Krishna reciprocates with us accordingly. The verse again? Verses. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed, all these truths about my pastimes and mellows are within your knowledge. Therefore I have shown this form to you. Actually, my body does not have a white complexion. It only appears so because it has touched the body of Srimati Radharani. However, she does not touch anyone but the son of Maharaj Nanda. I have now converted my body and mind into the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani. Thus I am tasting my own personal sweetness in that form. And now the audio from Srila Prabhupada, which describes this in his own words.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means Krishna feeling separation, Radharani feeling, Radha Bhava Dviti, Subhalita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken the position of Srimati Radharani, how to feel separation from Krishna. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, it is said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna nahe anno. If you simply worship Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you will be able to worship both Radha and Krishna. This is the meaning of this verse. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita author Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's happiness. The cause is that Krishna wanted to know what is there in Radharani. He is Madan Mohan. Krishna's another name is, he is attracted. Krishna is attracted to everyone. Even he is attractive to Cupid, Madan. Madan is attractive in the material world. And he is Madan Mohan. And Radharani is Madan Mohan Mohini. Meaning she attracts even the Madan Mohan. Therefore, Krishna is trying to understand what is there in Radharani, that she attracts. I attract the whole universe and she attracts me. So, with this feeling, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tadbhavadhya Lobha, these are all transcendental happiness. Lobha, there is greediness to understand.
That was one of the verses Srila Prabhupada was speaking on in Mayapur, on the Chaitanya Charitamrita first verses, describing Lord Chaitanya's advent, why he comes, why Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Are there any questions or comments, Samapriya? Here, we got the microphone.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, this description that Prabhupada was giving about the relationship, about how Krishna is only pleased by Srimati Radharani. So does that mean, as aspiring devotees, our duty is to serve Srimati Radharani, and that's how we will please Krishna? What actually is our position? We talk about the different rasas, conjugal love. What is our position if a jiva is attracted to that mood? How does he serve in that way? If he can't, does he have direct contact with Krishna? No, it doesn't seem.
No.
How could I please Krishna?
The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives the basic progression, beginning with Vaidhi Bhakti, following the rules and regulations of the spiritual master. Then Bhava Bhakti develops. One's emotions start to become purified. They start to become, it's Sambandha Abhideha Prayojana. The relationship becomes more developed, and according to the jiva's constitutional nature, as they advance and awaken, just like a plant is in its seed form, and then it germinates, and then it comes up out of the ground, and it starts to manifest its qualities. If it's a mango, if it's a rose, if it's a pineapple, it will show its different features as it grows and matures. As the devotee, as the spiritual body develops by following the spiritual master's instructions and the practice of bhakti, then those features all manifest and one becomes attracted to particular features of the Lord in any one of the rasas. Mostly the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is that dasan or dasan or das. Yes, most of them follow the concept that Srimati Radharani is the one who can please Krishna, and her assistants, her friends, and her assistants, the gopis, the manjaris, and different sakis, all work together to bring Radha and Krishna together for their pleasure. That the spiritual master is very expert in doing this, and he instructs in the heart to his devotees, to his disciples and others, how to make those kunjas and experiences for Radha and Krishna very tasty. So yes, the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy is generally that one doesn't try to love Krishna intimately in the kunj, but to serve Radha so that she can serve and please Krishna. Raghunath Das Goswami, his last book was called Vilapa Kusmanjali. He wrote it at Radha Kund at the end of his life. And in that book, he takes the personality of his Manjari Bhava, his little girl form, and performs so many wonderful services to Srimati Radharani and Krishna in the kunjas of Vrindavan. He never talks about him being with or her being with Krishna. Same with Lalita and Vishaka. All the different friends of Radharani are always so enthused because they know love means to bring pleasure to the beloved, not for oneself. Isn't that like the whole essence of love? That love means you care more about somebody else, the beloved, than you do about yourself. You want them to feel pleasure. So if we want Krishna to feel pleasure, he feels the most pleasure in the association of Srimati Radharani. So if we love him, then the best thing we can do is bring them together and serve them in that way. Does that kind of zero in on what you were wondering? Yeah, well, it starts off from the beginning of Vaidhi Bhakti, following the orders of the spiritual master. What happens in the heart, what does happen? It's the process. What happens in the heart is that rather than feeling selfishly about ourselves, we want to please the spiritual master. And that nourishment in the heart changes it. That's the change of heart. And we start to feel, I want to please my spiritual. Look at Srila Prabhupada's example. If there's one prominent feature that kind of outshines all the other features that Srila Prabhupada showed, it's, I did this as a service to my spiritual master. I simply wanted to please my spiritual master. I don't take any credit. I simply followed his order. How many times have we heard that? Over and over and over and over again. This was his mood. So he showed how we can practically apply it. Yes, it's very exalted, but it's also practical in our day-to-day life, our moment-to-moment existence. If we can imbibe that mood, then gradually all these things, just like, again, the plant, it has so many, it's not just one little stick that comes up. There's branches and there's bark and there's so many features to it. All of them work together to display the manifestation of mature spiritual body as we grow. Janmashtami Prabhu.
I was a very nice class, very elevated.
It was the topic. So I just followed the book.
I'm glad you were given it, not me. The Paribhasha Sutra, usually, my understanding, it's always been 1.3.28. Ite chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And from that, the whole Bhagavatam expands.
Nice.
So, but you have another Paribhasa.
No, Paribhasa Sutra, my understanding of that is it's a principle. It's not that there's only one, and it's like in a house. There's different rooms. You might have a candle and he gave the example of the candles being situated in one place in a room and illuminating the whole room. So this concept of how Krishna can be Krishna and covered. How can Krishna be covered? It's impossible. He's conscious of everything, everywhere, all the time. I know all that has happened in the past, all that's happening in the future, all that's happening at present, all that will happen in the future. He knows everything, everywhere, all the time. How can he be covered? Because Yoga Maya and Leela Shakti work that way in that particular circumstance. So in that Leela of Mother Yasoda seeing the universal form, Vishwanath Chakrabarti is the one that wrote that particular purport, and he's saying this verse, this concept, and this principle can be applied to all the other ones where the same principle can be applied to Krishna's pastimes. Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha takes Ete Tamsa Kala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam to show that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all tattvas emanate from him. So he's taking the principle and saying it applies everywhere, just the way Krishna does, the way Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur said, this is the principle in concerning this, and applies everywhere.
So there more than just those two Paribhasas?
Yes, certainly there would be.
You've come across that in the commentary?
No.
Okay.
But by concept, by principle, we can understand there must be. Certainly. We're done. Mohan?
I was just remembering that verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita about the six tattvas. Krishna conscious means, and it says understanding Krishna tattva, Bhakti tattva, Prema tattva, Sara, and then Bhava tattva, Rasa tattva, Leela tattva, R. So when you were talking principles, I was thinking, okay, here's the Krishna tattva principle, here's the Leela tattva principle.
Oh, another nice example.
Like that.
Mahanjani?
I have a comment and a question on the part about Krishna's form, face, and smile being sweeter and sweetest. Dravida made up a little verse that makes that easy to remember, like he does, and it goes. Let me see if I can. Sweet, sweet is my dear Lord's form. Sweeter still is his face so fair, and his honey fragrance, gentle smile is sweet beyond compare. Makes it easy to remember. He's so good at that. Dravida. And then the question is, I've heard that in a conversation Prabhupada said to someone that book distribution or Sankirtan is like Rasa Leela or is Rasa Leela. Have you heard that, and do you know what that means or how that can be understood?
Okay, if we follow the principle, Nikunjayono Ratikeli Siddhai, that the spiritual master is trying to enhance the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but here in the material world, we're dealing with fallen souls. So the concept is that if we can bring somebody to Krishna, if we can attract them to Krishna, educate them in Krishna consciousness, that jiva, through the process of bhakti, will ultimately go to serve Radha and Krishna. So there's different ways to enter that mentality, but if one is on book distribution and trying to see like that and mature seeing the jiva, understanding that simply getting a book, reading one line, their life becomes successful. Naturally, all jivas are attracted to Krishna because they're part and parcel of Krishna. So that's kind of a meditation, and personally, I think that Srila Prabhupada's revealing a little bit about what inspired him and what motivated him in his moments of, he sat by himself every night for hours, relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Who can understand the tastes of reciprocation and rasa that Srila Prabhupada was experiencing? And that's kind of like a little peep, a little glimpse, one of those little peepholes where you can kind of see that perhaps he was revealing that he's thinking like that this is my service to my spiritual master, my service to Radha and Krishna, to spread this knowledge, to spread this information. Otherwise, how could he remain so determined through so much tribulation, difficulty, and resistance in Kali Yuga? It's astounding. Thank you. Jai. Chaitanya Charitamrita Srila Prabhupada ki jai.